Welcome back to the Matt Buff Show. Come see us Friday at the Shingle Creek for the homeschool event. We're going to be broadcasting live down there all day long. So many guests. Come by and say hello. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be awesome. Another guy about town is Scotty Moore, U.S. congressional candidate for Florida's District 9. Scotty, welcome back to the Buff Show. Great to have you.
Love it. Always love being on the Buff Show. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Woo!
You got to come see us Friday down there at Shingle Creek. That's going to be awesome.
Be a massive turnout. The governor's speaking on Friday. We care about homeschooling because what that does is it stops the indoctrination that's happening all across our country.
Absolutely. That speech he's going to give is going to be fantastic and amazing. 1.2 million, nearing, just growing every day, people leaving the public school system, which is a shame, but they've gone nuts, Scotty. They've absolutely gone nuts. But before we dive into all the latest events, we got clips from Davos. We got news from State Farm wanting to inject Florida kids with propaganda. We're going to get into that. But first, major announcement from the Scotty Moore campaign. Why don't you just give our audience a quick update on who decided to give you a cool endorsement?
Yes, sir. So I think many of your listeners already are familiar with the name Mark Meadows. So Chief Meadows, a former chief of staff to President Trump, came down last week and did a fundraiser, an endorsement. We had a great time together. I had a significant amount of time. Him throwing his weight behind me in support and encouragement. By the way, he doesn't do that very often. He is a fantastic man, talks with the president very, very often, is still a wise counselor to him and very trusted confidant. And yeah, he is all in on Team Scotty, and I hope that helps you. And by the way, later on that evening, I got endorsed by the FRA, Florida Republican Assembly as well, Lou Marin, the Central Florida chapter, which is really the whole state of Florida. So we're rolling on this endorsement train. There's a lot of great things, a lot of momentum happening on Team Scotty.
Yeah, just a big week for you there. If everybody check you out on Twitter, everybody go follow Scotty on Twitter. You can see the videos. You can see the endorsements at Scotty Moore, the number 4FL, Scotty Moore 4FL. Check him out on Twitter, Facebook, and your website, Scotty, is?
Scotty Moore for Congress, Scotty with a Y.
Well, let's talk about somebody you're looking to fire, okay? That is Nancy Pelosi, radical lunatic who just got banned from the Catholic Church from receiving communion. Enjoy hell, Nancy.
Well, my question is what took the Catholic Church so long to finally make a decision? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, at what point, what was the thing that tipped the scale that finally they said, okay, this has got to, I mean, it's been a long time coming. But the reality is day one, the first vote that I'll ever take on the floor of the House of Representatives is going to be firing Nancy Pelosi and electing America First leadership. I look forward to that day.
Yeah, she has just lost her mind, and it was off her recent statements about that voting law. And, it's one thing to say, I support Roe v. Wade, I support the 1973 decision, but the Catholic Church, like many Americans, looked at that bill that the Democrats put together and had enough votes in the House on, for crying out loud, to get out there, which allowed the killing and murdering of children up into and maybe even after birth, depending on the scenario. That was the most radical slate of murder legislation I've ever seen.
And thank you for calling out what it is. There's a guy who says, his name is Henry Cloud. He says there are really three types of people all around the world. There are wise people, there are foolish people, but then there are evil people. And we don't call out and talk enough about the evil that's happening in our world. What you just described and what the party is embracing, the Democratic Party is embracing, is pure evil. That's not just foolish policy, that's evil. We're murdering babies. And any country that doesn't start protecting its own people is doomed for destruction. We need to wake up as a country. We need to start electing new leadership who are going to lead well. And we need to actually have the tough conversations calling out what's happening. That legislation, amongst other things, by the way, indoctrinating our kids about gender fluidity and transgender and trying to push them, the indoctrination of hating America, that's not just foolish, that's evil. That's trying to manipulate kids. We've got to call it out. I am not for that. I will stand up against that. I look forward to when getting elected. And by the way, Democrat Darren Soto, my opponent, votes 100% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. He is in lockstep with her. Whatever she does, he does. He represents what she does in the Biden administration. He has got to go. There's a clear choice between me and Democrat Darren Soto. In District 9, Florida, our country deserves better.
Primaries all over the country happening. We're looking at MAGA candidates doing very well. Yeah. And yes, when we say ultra MAGA, thank you to the Joe Biden team. Thank you for the King MAGA statement, by the way. You think Trump's going to hate the term King MAGA? With that ego? Are you kidding me? And also, when you talk about Make America Great Again candidates, that is not a racist thing. That is a, hey, don't you enjoy paying lower gas prices? Don't you enjoy putting more money in your pocket? Don't you enjoy having your schools not indoctrinate your children with filth? That's all we're talking about. And they're doing very well across the country in the early primary voting season.
Yeah, well, what you're seeing is absolutely right. It's the red wave. And what you're seeing are even Democrats that are transitioning over. The amount of conversations I've had with people who have abandoned the Democrat Party and are coming over because they're starting to see that they were duped by the fake media on who President Trump was and what he was. And they started to see that his policies were, in fact, good. And this administration is, in fact, destroying America and pushing us deeper into a horrible direction. 20 years ago, Venezuela was rich and thriving. Look at where they're at now. That is where we're heading right now. Leadership matters, my friends.
You're on the right
as well. Biden is destroying us. The choice could not be more clear.
When you're talking about Venezuela, that is what I consider the most comparable contrast when you look at what's happening in America. Parks and Recreation was a great TV show, and I remember watching an episode where the Venezuelans came up because they had a sister city in Venezuela, right? There's sister cities across the country with other countries. And it was a funny show because they were so snooty and high on their horse, and they were like, this place is filth. America's just dirty. In Venezuela, I got 5 houses. That was a real show a long time ago, but they just went the way of socialism, and it all started with a stolen election, by the way. And they went the way of socialism, and it destroyed the country. And I see that as the biggest contrast when it comes to the United States.
It's so true. And by the way, I say there's 2 words, and I say it multiple times. It's our future, our kids, our grandkids. That is what we are fighting for. The time for passiveness and peace is not upon us right now. There will be a time, but you are either losing ground or you're taking ground back right now. And there's a clear push, and we're losing ground in a lot of areas, and people are starting to wake up. School boards, we're starting to push back on that. What we're seeing with the encroachment of our civil liberties and our constitutional rights, what we're seeing with the Economic Forum in this world order that they're trying to push through, what we're seeing with President Biden giving over our sovereign power to the WHO. This is horrible. We need to wake up, everybody.
That's right. Trump fought against that. He had to see how the WHO thing played out during the pandemic, but Trump tried to fight against the WHO. We're going to go across the pond to Davos now and talk about this. We have a clip that is just very disturbing. There's many I could show you, but just based on time, I want to talk about this issue because yes, they are signing over our sovereignty to the World Economic Forum, to the WHO, the World Health Organization. The baby formula is now coming from overseas. They want to get gas from overseas. They're slowly picking off our country and giving it back to other countries. That's what they're doing. But this one affects us all. Scotty, real quick, before we play the clip that will make everybody's head explode, what are your thoughts on Biden's? You're not surprised that the Biden regime fully released everything to the WHO. You're not surprised by that, are you?
No, it's part of their plan. What I'm surprised is where's the uproar and the pushback from our representatives? Why are we not talking more about this? And what are we going to do about it? This is a clear systematic, for whatever reason, their side is hating America and working to actively destroy America. Look at the border. Look at the energy that you talk about. We're not independent. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. Look what's happening and giving money away. They are imploding our economy. Baby formula we're not taking care of our own people. This is a systematic destruction. And by the way, they're planning for the midterms because that there's going to be some sort of health crisis that surprisingly appears, and that they're going to swoop in, and we're not going to have control over our sovereign nation anymore because we're giving it away. This is very, very dangerous.
Listen to this guy, and people need to pay attention to what's going on. You're exactly right. How come the leaders don't care? Because they probably line their pockets from the World Economic Forum. There's Republicans out there. Toomey's out there.
This is what President Trump was fighting against. He was the one in between, and they took him out, man. He was fighting for the people.
Yes, he was, and they did. And we've talked about that many times on the show on how they took him out. But when Scotty referenced the red wave earlier in the show, the red wave is ultra MAGA, Make America Great Again candidates. They're even out. They're outdoing the regular rhinos there. We're actually seeing a real red wave. It's not just about Republicans, but with this World Economic Forum wants to control your life, where you go, where you drive. How big is your house?
Right.
Check
what
it. And
you eat.
I'm not lying. Let me show you this clip. And I'll get you on the other side, Scotty.
Developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Yeah, this is the Alibaba Group President, J. Michael Evans. Okay, just to give everybody a note, this guy is not some guy just waxing poetic. He is high ranking in there. They found a way to make a one world government, and they're going to do everything they can to seize it. We've played clips before on the mental tracking technology they want to implement on everybody. This just goes another step in that direction. One government for the world. We got you guys.
Yeah, listen, this gathering are world leaders that are gathering. They're big tech oligarchs that are coming together, that are suppressing voices, that are pushing out information. There are central banks that are gathering. And by the way, Alibaba is the brainchild of Jack Ma, the Chinese, and they took it over. And so you got China infiltrated, you got money. They're pushing through. You got Bill Gates, who recently came out and said that rich countries should get used to eating synthetic beef and just get used to the taste. You know, this whole idea, their idea of like, hey, you're not going to own anything. You'll just rent and you'll love it. This is their plan for your life. You know, they want to track where you're going. They want to be able to flip a switch and shut off. They want you to earn. They want to control you. It's very arrogant. It's very dangerous. And if we, the people, do not rise up, and I'm not talking about just within the U.S., around the world, and fight against this and say no, they will use their money. They will use their influence. They will just put their thumb down and try to, and what Biden is doing is he's giving over control of our sovereign nation to be a part of that. You know, the Paris Climate Accord, they're trying to give up all this. Fossil fuels are essential for our economic security, for our national security, even for our constitutional freedoms. You know, they want to be able to have us plugged into a car where they can shut down the grid and say, nope, we can't do that, or we're not going to let you drive anymore. California's already doing that. It's crazy. I cannot believe we're at this situation right now.
When you're talking to people on the ground, when you go door to door and talking to people, I think they understand that the socialists that are running the government right now, Biden, just his job is to read off the prompter, but Ron Klain, Susan Rice, those folks, they hate you so much, Scotty, because you supported President Trump. Yeah. They're going to make you pay for it. That's why some of these policies and some of these decisions, they don't care about the will of the people. They don't care that it's unpopular with the people. They told you on gas prices just yesterday, Biden said, we're in a wonderful transition. They've gone from complaining about it to trying to say they're doing something about it to now just you accept it. We know what's best for you. They want to punish you for voting for Trump, and they want to push their radical agenda despite what Americans say about it, because they want to seize that power and transition. And they don't care that it costs Americans, an extra $6,000 a year.
Yeah, it just shows that they're totally out of touch. They're out of touch with the costs of everything rising up. They're out of touch with the fact that Americans are having to pay for gas and so much more. In fact, sometimes more than double close to triple of what we were paying before. They're not in touch with the cost of food and how that's rising and affecting everyday life. They're not in touch with baby formula, what's essential for babies to be able to survive. Kids within our own country, we're not protecting that. We got people who are being arrested that were on the terror watch list that came across the border. Our national security is at risk. It's shocking. My grandpa was born in 1903 on my dad's side. He lived until 1995, lived almost a full century. And I wonder, he would be 118 if he were alive today. I wonder what on earth he would think about what has happened to his country. He lived through World War I, the Great Depression, World War II. He raised 4 boys through the Industrial Revolution. He had 4 jobs because the value of work was so important. And he would just shake his head being like, what have you done to my country? What are we going to do about it? We need to do something about it. It's not enough to complain. We need to rise up and speak up and push back. Listen, the Buff Show is the tip of the spear getting it out in a censored world where they're shutting down. We need to support the Buff Show. We need to get this out there. We need to have you speak up and elect good candidates. Not all candidates are alike. So I need your help. We need your help, my friends.
Website one more time.
ScottyMoreForCongress.com. Scotty with a Y, Moore. Jump on, volunteer, donate. We need your help. I'm on Facebook as well, Instagram, Twitter, Scotty Moore for Congress. Check it out. We need your help. 91 more days left until the primary. We got to keep pushing, everybody.
Got to keep pushing. You got to get to know your candidates. Find out on his website where you can meet Scotty. Get out there and see these guys. From school board to Congress, this is one of the most vital turning points in our country history.
Yes.
This midterm election in 2022 is not your typical midterm. They took a free market and turned it into socialism. We're losing our country fast. This is not a joke. And now the World Economic Forum. Unbelievable stuff. One more clips on that. Scotty, thanks for the wonderful insight today. Keep rocking out there, brother.
Yeah. Hey, Mark Meadows is with me. I need your help. Join with Team Scotty. We got FRA. We got Mark Meadows. We need your help. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Mark Meadows, a great get, Scotty. Very proud of you when I saw that. I was like, cool, he's already on the schedule. Very nice. Scotty, we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you Friday for the homeschooling event.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
We'll be right back on the Buff Show. You guys stay with us.